So students, now what you have here is a detailed study of paper 1 section 1, which is directed writing. Now beta, the title of it is self-explanatory in the sense that you have a task with a few directions given, and beta, you have to be following those directions while you are composing your script. Right? Now, what this section of 30 marks comprises are question based on a letter, an account, speech, magazine, or an article, right? So, okay, so students, directed writing has 30 marks and the recommended word limit is 200 to 300 words. So if whether you're writing a letter, a speech, a magazine article or a factual account, make sure that you write within 200 and 300 words there. And the time, again, you have a range of time given here which will not be mentioned in your question. The question paper. However, it's more like a recommended one, which is half an hour to 45 minutes. And this is something that you people need to keep in mind. And again, emphasizing the importance of time management for any past paper practice. All right, a little more about directed writing task that you'll have in your paper. We have 4 major types of functional or situational writings that are a part of your O-level directed writing syllabus, namely letters, both informal and formal. What you can see this written here for you. So a letter that can be either an informal letter or a formal letter. Informal letters is a method of correspondence with people you might be very candid, frank, friendly with or well acquainted with, while formal letters are generally letters written to people who you may or may not have even met, but you have a reason to formally or officially correspond. For an employee, can be corresponding in the form of a formal letter with his or her employer, and likewise. Okay, reports is the other genre or a type of functional writing for your section 1 of paper 1. And students, we have reports that are both informative and investigative. Now, when we talk about informative and investigative, they may be, you can have a question in which you have an eyewitness account, right? For instance, you've witnessed shoplifting and you've been asked by the police to give an account of that. So you have to very objectively present all the information that you were able to witness. It can even be at the level of your school head or the principal of your school requiring an informative piece of writing from you regarding perhaps what you recently, an event that you recently participated in. So when we talk about informative, it may or may not be investigative. So informative would be perhaps to the principal, if that's how we can see it here. Investigative would be as an eyewitness. Okay? So when you are writing as an eyewitness and it's to facilitate a legal investigation at any level, that would be investigative. And informative is where you are giving some information about an event, a happening that occurred on campus, on school campus or outside it. But one thing that needs to be ensured by the student is the objectivity of this form of writing. Now, when I'll talk about it in detail further on in the course, I'll tell you how exactly and to what level of being objective, how objective you're required to be when you talk about this particular task. Okay, then we have speech. Speech, which is persuasive and informative. O-level questions are generally based keeping your school parameters and your school parameters in mind. When the paper setter sets a task for your O-level paper, they usually have you as an O-level student working within the premises of your school. So the topics would be such, for instance, it could be something like you address your school assembly about a recent drive that you have initiated in school, or perhaps a campaign that you've run for a fundraising campaign. So it will be keeping your academic parameters or your school premises in mind. Then magazine articles and accounts, okay. Now, when we talk about magazine article, again, 80% probability of you getting to write a school magazine article. You have to, where you have to be talking about yourself as a member of that institution, and thereby whatever is required to be written. It can again be a recent event that you witnessed and perhaps your feedback about it as a representative of the student body. So this is basically what covers the 4 types of functional or situational writing students that you have for paper 1, section 1, which is directed writing.